Daniel chapter 10 opens with an aging prophet observing the shifting gears of empire. While kings maneuver for territory and influence, Daniel chooses to distance himself from the feast, praying and fasting for 3 full weeks. Though heaven dispatches an answer immediately, the messenger is delayed. The text identifies a spiritual entity called the Prince of Persia, who resists the divine word for 21 days, marking a direct collision between heavenly intent and spiritual opposition. This resistance continues until a figure named Michael intervenes. His arrival breaks the deadlock, allowing the messenger to finally reach the prophet. In the Seventh-day Adventist perspective, Michael is the name for Christ in his specific capacity as the commander of the heavenly host and the defender of his people. This interaction identifies the primary forces driving world events. The political and military records of history are the visible evidence of a much larger great controversy between Christ and Satan occurring just beyond human sight. Chapter 11 provides a historical map of this conflict, transitioning from the Persian era to the Greek Empire. Following the death of Alexander the Great, his empire fractures. The prophecy follows the subsequent warfare between the kings of the north and the kings of the south, recording the cycles of political ambition and persecution that catch God's people in the crossfire. These meticulous historical details serve to validate God's absolute foreknowledge. By precisely mapping these human struggles, the text directs the viewer toward a single inevitable conclusion: the arrival of the kingdom of God. The prophecy eventually moves past the boundaries of regional geography. It transitions from describing ancient Middle Eastern powers to identifying worldwide spiritual entities. This final Antichrist power exalts itself above the divine, using religious influence to deceive and planting its forces against God's worldwide people. Because these prophecies track the character and trajectory of spiritual powers rather than just political dates, the text prioritizes preparation over calculation. The history serves as a prelude to a global crisis, which suggests that speculative date setting misses the prophecy's primary intent. Recall the patterns in Daniel 2, 7, and 8. What occurs every time an earthly power attempts to exalt itself to the highest possible level? Divine intervention halts the process. Chapter 12 begins with Michael standing up, a world-altering moment that signals a decisive change in history. Michael standing up indicates that Christ's heavenly ministry has concluded. This initiates a time of trouble unparalleled in human history. The peak of earthly deception serves as the catalyst for the commander of heaven to begin the final rescue of his people. Michael's intervention brings the promised deliverance for everyone found written in the book. Daniel 12 describes the resurrection as a waking moment. Humanity rises from the unconscious sleep of death to meet one of 2 destinies: everlasting life or everlasting contempt. The time periods of 1,290 and 1,335 days at the end of the book function as historical markers. They provide evidence of a structured divine timeline that remains firm despite the chaos of earthly kingdoms. Daniel is commanded to seal the book until the time of the end. This indicates that the prophecies were intended to become clear only when the world reached the specific era of history they describe. History is a meticulously timed narrative. The spiritual war concludes when Michael stands up, ensuring the resurrection and the eternal safety of God's people.